Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Lady Leadership Podcast. I'm very excited today to have Kate Dillon on the show. Now, Kate is the founder of Sheline. Now, it would be remiss of me to say that Sheline makes bags because it's a lot more than just a bag, and there's just a beautiful story behind Sheline and a wonderful mission. And I'm just really excited to introduce you to Kate.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Now, I will just say you were a corporate lawyer, and in 2015 you started Sheline. Tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, I stayed a corporate lawyer actually. I couldn't find a handbag to carry everything that I needed, and I really liked to wear a beautiful power suit and feel, strong in what I was wearing, and I was often let down by the Woolies bag full of paperwork and the gym bag and the lunch bag. And you'd have a beautiful bag, but it could never carry a laptop. And then if you had a laptop bag in those days, it was one of those really ugly, big, podgy, black
Yeah.
bags. So yeah, I thought, gosh, it can't be that hard to make a beautiful bag with distinctive interiors that won't break, that's reflective of the woman. And spoke to a whole lot of colleagues and friends, and they'd all had the same frustration. So that's where Sheline started.
And tell me about how you then kind of embarked on that. So, being a corporate lawyer, how did you then go about like design and the ideas and all of that? Just run me through that.
Yeah, so I think being a corporate lawyer, I was a bit bullish about the fact that I thought I could do it, and it was actually way harder than anything that I've studied, and way harder than being a lawyer, and was much more complicated. And I think I've grown more as a woman, as a human, as a person, as a problem solver, as a strategist, and as an employee, and as an owner running a business and starting a business from scratch. Than anything else that I've done. But yes, I went and did all of the handbag construction courses at RMIT with Andrew Smith at the time, who's a wonderful person, who was an ex-Hermes and Oroton bag designer and maker. And so learned about pattern making and leather appreciation and clutch design and gusset bags and tote bags and reinforcements and seam structure and using and skiving leather and doing using different types of machinery and what's actually involved and what the reinforcements look like, because my brain has absolutely been trained to understand the how.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to understand how, so that I could ask for what I knew that I was going to get, or get the right thing, to eventually get a factory to help me make them. And then I did all of the Illustrator and Photoshop courses at RMIT 3 times. I think they thought that I was crazy because I was doing them more to network and meet people and pick people's brains, because it was at a time in 2015 where people were transitioning from analog design to
Yeah.
digital design. So there were a lot of people from very big companies that were learning how to translate their work product into a digital space. And so they were the perfect people to say, oh, hey, do you know where would be a good place to source leather ethically? And do you know who I would speak to about freight? And do I have to do any testing? And what does that look like? And where do
Yeah.
I get hardware? And
Yeah. Yeah.
do I have to use Illustrator to make a tech pack? And should I make a sample here? And which country should I go to? And where's the best trade shows? Are there any other questions you think I should be asking?
And you were you doing this at night then? So tell me about how, because
Yes. Well, to be fair, I decided in 2014 that I would leave the law, and I left and did like 3 months straight of study at RMIT, doing all of these courses at night school and during the day, doing all the vocational courses to learn as much as I could,
yeah.
thinking that, oh, I'll start the business and everybody will want to buy a bag and that'll be fun and that'll be exactly the same as being a lawyer, if not better, and it's going to be huge. Then my husband was like, well, actually, that like legal salary that you had was pretty good. Maybe you could go and do a part-time thing because the business probably won't take off immediately. And I was like, yeah, okay. So went and got a flexible role at Gilbert and Tobin, covering a maternity position, for a person, like a professional support lawyer. So they write like boilerplates, like the clauses that go into all of the contracts essentially that the business uses, like the fundamental black letter law pieces, very much a go in and do the work and then go home type of role, not client facing. And as you can see, probably I'm quite extroverted. So the role turned into very naturally more of a soundboard for other lawyers who couldn't bill for time, which is also what a professional support lawyer does. And then that naturally evolved into the ability to put forward a business case to be a knowledge and innovation lawyer, and then an innovation strategy lawyer, and then a transformation lawyer. And Gilbert and Tobin have been very progressive since 2015 when I began working there as a professional support lawyer. And they've supported me evolving as my business has evolved. And then I think as I've grown as a woman, I became more and more passionate about demonstrating that you could be valued and have a leadership trajectory on a flexible arrangement. So then it became, okay, not only do I want to run the business and demonstrate I can do it on a lean model and make it sustainable, but I want to also hold down a flexible arrangement in a professional services environment with a leadership trajectory. And they've absolutely supported me to do that. And I don't know that it's been the easiest course, but it's definitely been incredibly fulfilling. And I'm 100% about success is subjective, and it's what, you know, sets your soul on fire. And for me, I wanted the intellectual stimulation of being in a professional services environment and being like fiercely feminist about being valued for the outputs rather than the time commitment, and not being penalized for having a business baby or a human baby. And they've been 100% supportive of that. And then the business has evolved itself as well, and it's been the most amazing learning experience. And I've made so many mistakes, and that's where all the lessons are. And you just got to be open to course correcting. And I think that's what I've done the entire time. And now I've got this like passion to disrupt myself all the time. So that I move into a space where you grow, because that's where you grow. When you feel uncomfortable, you grow. So
I love that both of those things have evolved so much. What I really love about it is that you went and learnt all that information. And what was the gentleman's name again?
Andrew Smith.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew, who'd been at Hermes, just happened to be at RMIT. So, you know, tick there, like that's just incredible, doing all of that learning. But I love that you did both sides of it too. So the handbag construction, and then actually, you know, the illustration and all of that. And then, you know, the third part of that with the networking and who can I meet here and who do you know, and yeah, just kind of putting yourself amongst that. And yeah, incredible. I love that. And then kind of going, okay, well, do you know what I do? Because I think it's a really valid learning, and something I've learned as well is I've actually got to still make some money. And when you're used to the big salaries as well, to then go cold turkey, nothing, and go,
oh,
I can't get my money done.
Doesn't just happen. Why not? Why does not everybody want to come? Why aren't they fine by being flooded?
Yeah. What was the sort of time frame from, like, you know, that learning to I've got a bag in my hands that I could sell someone?
So I left my role at a big law firm in September 2014, and then I started all those classes at RMIT in those 3 months leading up to Christmas, and then I ended up joining G&T in January 2015, and I had a launch for Sheline in July 2015, and I had 8 bags and models and a runway and drums, and I invited like all the people from the law firm and like all these people that, you know, were supporting me, and completely forgot that you needed to invite the media and influencers and PR and all that sort of stuff. And the day before, someone was like, oh, so who have you got like record, like, you know, doing the PR? And I was like, oh, what do you mean? And you're like, well, how is anybody going to know beyond the people that go? I was like, yeah, that's really valid, because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. And
I was just lucky that a friend of a friend who came happened to be a reporter for the Herald Sun, and it got up onto news.com.au, like lawyer produced handbag with these crazy names like negotiator and deal closer, and I was like up online, and then there was all these thousands of hits, and that was pure luck. So, but that was like a perfect example of not knowing what you don't know and jumping in whole hog and then going, oh, that's like the whole point of
Yeah.
a launch. And then, you know, obviously never ever again doing something like that without having it a lot more architected. But I feel like it's like that in every area of your life. And I think if you're just constantly leaning into learning something all the time and being curious and saying, you know, don't firmly hold a certain opinion because you might be making assumptions about something that it isn't accurate, and most of the time you don't know a
Yeah.
lot about what you're doing, and the more the more you don't know. So
But then it's the learning, and then it's the doing, and the doing can be like, it can be learning doing, and it's a mixture of those things. And so just in terms of then kind of that pathway to, so you pretty much, you did everything in the business yourself.
everything, yeah, everything,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that's tough, isn't it? Like,
It is, but it was so fulfilling. And it was this whole creative and commercial space that I didn't feel I was getting in a law firm environment. And but then maintaining the legal side gave me this like sort of really strong intellectual piece that's now turned into this strategic piece, which is really great as well, which I obviously also have in my business, but at a smaller scale because a law firm is so big.
yeah,
Um, but it's really amazing how the two reinforce each other and strengthen each other. And the lessons learned in both environments, which are quite different, equally apply in both settings and make you a better performer in each space. And that's super powerful. And I think that is something um, that has been a massive gift. And yeah, I don't think I would have even known that that was a thing unless I tried to do something that was a bit unconventional.
yeah. I think it's like, it's that piece about giving it a go yourself, isn't it? Right.
Yeah.
And but also doing something outside of, I've also, started a couple of businesses on the side myself, and had various degrees of success, and then, but also had learnings of like, actually, I don't want to do this. The reality of this is not what I'm interested in. And so being able to have that growth, but then that has then helped me in, say, my day job as well. Um, just that knowledge and that experience, etc.
Absolutely.
Tell me, Kate, tell me what happened in 2020 then.
So 2020 was a curly one for everyone. Yeah, 2019, Sheline was going actually really well, like really having a growth spurt. And I had reinvested a whole lot of the additional sales into buying a really premium range of bags that were all Italian leather at a much higher price point than normal, very exclusive range that were all due to arrive in February and March. And I had a 3-year-old and a newborn in December 2019. Um,
So
and so
whilst you're doing this, you just popped out a couple of
couple
children.
of kids, yeah. And I was on mat leave because I'd had my son in early December. And as you know, everything got locked down in March, and the problem that Sheline solves essentially is commuting, and bringing your work gear to and from the office in an organized way so that you can perform at your best. And the problem that we solved disappeared overnight. And so essentially, it became apparent very quickly as the lockdown was extended that despite having very loyal customers, I would need to change direction if the business was going to survive.
Yeah.
And I was really adamant that I wanted it to transform and survive, but I wanted it to support other small businesses that were in pain, and that if I was going to go down, I'd go out in flames and make a difference. And so decided that I needed to make something ideally that was end-to-end Australian made, like every single element if possible. And I thought something like a sweatshirt would be easy. Again, another assumption. More open to questioning them, but a big assumption. And knowing that I'd worked at Feathers at law school, and Margaret Porritt is amazing, and I knew that she had manufactured in Brunswick, I cold called the factory and said, hey, I used to work for Marg, and I know that you're amazing. I've got this idea. I appreciate we're all in lockdown. I have I have like a bit of an understanding now around how to design and manufacture and make handbags. I have no clue how to make apparel.
Yeah.
I'd be really interested in your guidance if you're willing to support me. I'd like to make a sweatshirt that's like zero to wear, every element Australian made. Is that of interest to you, and would you be open to connecting me with some people that could help with that? And they absolutely did. And it was much more complicated than I thought again, and multiple elements. And in the end, 22 businesses came together, obviously because they're all small businesses. And I think a larger business would probably have quite a few of those technical specialties possibly in-house, or if you outsourced overseas, a factory would take care of a lot of those elements. But yeah, right through from sourcing the mill and getting the cotton and the rib and the industrial washing and the labels and the screen printing and all of the packaging and absolutely every element to be something from an Australian worker. And then it demonstrated that there were 300 hands that touched this one garment from this small business, that was a powerful point to make in an industry that needs, I think, more support at a government level and more scaffolding from an infrastructure. Like, it's a wicked problem. It's not something that we can solve overnight. It needs multiple parties coming together to have a big think tank to solve it, essentially. But it was a real opportunity to innovate, because we're moving into this space potentially where it's not going to be the last pandemic, and we need to be less reliant on other countries. And it would be great to galvanize the manufacturing industry here and really support it and rebuild it, because it used to be so strong. There's such an opportunity to bring it back and support Australians.
And it's all that knowledge, isn't it? And passing down of that knowledge through further generations. And if we completely stop manufacturing in Australia, we're gonna lose that knowledge in Australia.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I've
But the ability to make that attractive again, and to make that, more modern and infuse technology into that, and have it paid appropriately, and then have consumers understand what they're paying for, and then have it last longer and it be more sustainable, and you'd be able to actually go and touch and feel and see the people that are making the things that you're making. And yeah, there's just a lot of benefits.
Yeah, it's really that quality and that cost, and that that cost per wear. And so Sheline Apparel was born at that point.
Yes. So our tops say, actually, I can, and support local,
No.
because actually we could, even in lockdown, and over Zoom and email and text. And then these people were so amazing that I wanted to go, and I felt like I knew them. They were like family when I went to finally meet them when we were able to come out of lockdown. And so I wanted to interview all of them and understand their stories. And so I went and videoed them on my phone, thinking that'd be sufficient. And then these stories were just incredible. I was like, oh, this is so much bigger than my business. And so realized that I really needed to invest in some professional footage and capture these amazing stories, because this was clearly an advocacy piece that could potentially be picked up by someone who was actually going to petition, like at a federal level or something, and could use it as a use case.
Yeah.
And that's why we made that video, and it was picked up by Creative Victoria. It was picked up by the Australian Fashion Council. I'm really proud of all the people that came together to support it, and I think it was a fabulous thing to be able to demonstrate what's in our backyard and sort of shine a light on the capability that we do have, and what could be rebuilt, essentially, because we're going to need to, if we don't want to lose it.
Yeah. So for the audience, if you pop onto the Sheline website, so sheline.com.au, and if you have a look, if you just scroll down slightly, there's an absolutely beautiful video that Kate was just talking about, which is called Actually I Can, how more than 20 Aussie businesses bonded together to support local. And just such a beautiful video, and just telling the story of that end-to-end manufacturing process, really, and all the different parts and all the different players, and how lots of Australian stories there as well.
Yeah.
So also, when you're on the website, check out the really wonderful handbags, and also the wonderful apparel. And you've got a lovely black jacket on there, I noticed as well, which looks great.
I said, more fiercely on the inside.
Sorry, what was that?
It says walk fearlessly on the inside.
That's so great. Because that's
Yeah.
what us as women need, don't we? In our businesses, in our careers, in the workplace. We need that, you can, that little extra boost.
Yeah, I think women can do anything. I think women are super power people. I think women just have to like own their power and tap into that and let go of all of the society bullshit and everything that is forced upon us to think that we can't. I think that women can do anything and you can do anything. And if you decide you want to do it, and you just have to decide. I don't think you need to wait to believe you can. I think you need to decide you can and go and do it.
And just take action, right?
I think so. Just take a step. And you can always course correct.
Correct. That's
And no one knows everything. And it's not a problem if you don't know everything, and you can always learn along the way.
And I mean, what I really like about your story is that continuously asking others and asking, within that network that you've created, etc., and not being afraid to ask, I think, which is great.
Oh, I think everything in life is relationships. And I think it's always about understanding how you can support other people. And then that comes back 3, 4-fold every time. So it's always about understanding how you can provide value to others and how you can support others. And then they go out of their way to support you. And I think there's huge strength in being able to say, I don't know, can you help me as
Yeah.
well?
Yeah. Best way for people to get in contact with you, Kate?
Probably LinkedIn, to be
Yeah.
honest. Yeah. Yeah.
Lovely. So check Kate out on LinkedIn. Check out Sheline. I'll put the link in the notes. Thank you so much for being on the show, Kate. I love your story, and I think it's just proof, right, that where you start is not where you end up, and kind of everything evolves. And just try, if you have a love for something, or if you can see a problem, have a go.
Yeah, and if you're not happy with where you are, change something.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think you can do anything if you set your mind to it. Anything's possible. Guts, determination, and persistence, and you can walk fearlessly.
It's so good. Walk fearless.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for having me.